Welcome back to Dirt Sociable. I'm Alec Hoffman, and this is where we wrap up Dirt City. I have David DeChamps joining me as always. Man, what a hot weekend.
I feel like that's the theme, right? Rain and hot weather.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that discussion about rain, I got to pop my water open here. A little bit of death water, try to rehydrate after the weekend.
Yeah, I'll join you. Drinking Arnold Palmer, but
All right. You brought it up, so I'll skip to it. Our weather bet. Does Dirt City count as rain?
no. When was there rain?
I was talking to Hawkers, and it was raining when he was there.
Doesn't matter.
And there was an information packet out or information bulletin out that stopped people from coming and loading into the pits
It was
because the ground was so wet.
It was
There
during racing.
Hold on, there was campsites that still had standing water in it when we were there. So I don't know. That seems like
It has to impact the racing. I don't care about loading in. There's water standing. Well, give me a freaking hose and I'll go make water stand every race weekend.
a water truck tries to.
Yeah, so no, doesn't count.
Okay, so our weather bet then, ERX was clear even though there was some sprinkles. It didn't have any effect. And now Dirt City has been clear.
We're on the roll.
So 3 versus 2. And I got to get to
6.
6.
And there's
3 left.
3 left.
So I gotta have.
Everything is banking on California.
Well, we know Crinon's gonna get rain. Park River doesn't always get rain. Yeah, Glen Helen, that's gonna be a toughie.
Does California get rain?
Yeah, it does. When it
Not
rains,
often.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah, but not often.
Yeah. So I might be buying a cheeseburger at Glen Helen then for you.
Oh, that happens.
So, all right, let's back her up to the Dirt City facility. Give me your highlighting points of that facility.
Yeah, so I do definitely like the fact that they've tried to bring in shade, right? They added more mesh shade, in multiple areas, obviously near the concession stands. So I do like that. I think as it continue to grow, continue to be a part of the series, I would definitely love for them to extend more shade or get more shade out there or whatever they have to do, especially they're always in July and it's always a heater for the most part. And you might as well just invest in the shade. Obviously, maybe they can get sponsors or, step up, donate something, and they figure out how to get more shade. Even that mesh stuff, it's not perfect, but it does enough to keep the sun out of it. They're enough.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think when we had our Mark Court Brothers chat when we were talking about Dirt City, that was one of the big points that I kind of drove home on. And I'm just so optimistic on that facility. Like I love the location. So location. That's what they say in sales. So that one's got the location, and location.
Yeah, but as far as like the track changes go, I think that it's a step in the right direction. I did like the changes. It's still tough though because when you get like the trucks, it's not even just the trucks though, but so many classes just have a hard time maneuvering around to make a pass. Like there's very limited passing lanes. You almost have to hope somebody makes a mistake to get a pass. So if you start in the back of the field, it's tough to work your way up front and make passes. So starting in the back of the field at Dirt City is a tough ask for anybody because passing is just at a premium. And the only way you do that is you got to get more racing surface, more track. Like right now, they aren't able to extend the track out even further just based off of the land situation. So I think it definitely brings unique set of racing skills for everybody and a chance to mess with gearing and people running different gears to try to do different things. But at the same time, like it would be awesome in the future if they could extend the track.
Yeah, that's always bigger, better. It's better. The changes, I think they certainly helped, like smaller classes. And as we get through this, we're gonna definitely see that it's gonna be part of the conversation when we talk about the big trucks, like you said. The changes definitely helped those smaller classes to be more of a technical track. The changes for the bigger vehicles were just more of a hindrance, it seemed like. And I hate to say it, but all the changes were negatively affecting the spectator viewing. Like, we used to have really good all-around viewing of that track, and now turn one, where the end of the dog leg comes around, you can't see because there's the protective brick wall. So even the trucks, you just barely see the roofs. So that sucks because that's where some action's happening. If you're in the grandstands, you get a better view, but the majority of that, even though they've done a great job putting grandstands throughout, the majority of that, people are trying to stick to the lawn chairs and stuff like that because the grandstands fill up or whatever. So, but that kind of negatively affect it. And then the inner right-hander, when they make that a bigger Talladega sweep, they had to build the wall up more. So now your left-hander on the very far back is now covered. So, I got ideas like what they could do with elevation change there and everything else. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that's ever thought of it. It's just, how can you find 200 quad axle loads to come in here and dump not junk dirt, actual good dirt that can be used. So it's just an all-around progress. I'm glad that they made these changes and are working towards something different because you can only run the same track so many times.
Yeah, so definitely can tell you that from my talk with some people that are close to the track, they saw those same things. They saw the viewing points, disappear, vantage points, and they definitely, in my conversations, were like, yeah, once we started seeing you run, we realized real quick we created some blind spots. So we'll see if they go back to the drawing board and, try to reshape it up for next season. We'll see what they do. I think they definitely have notated that there is some viewing points or blind spots they created.
Yeah. Ready to give us your food review? I know we didn't have a chef, so I know that you partake in the concession stands a couple times.
Yeah, food was decent. I mean, they had chicken strip option, which is good. Cheese curds were all right. Nothing. I'll put it this way. I mean, the cheeseburger was decent. It had a good, but nothing. For me personally, nothing stood out as like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Nothing was like over the top amazing. It was just good.
I had cheese curds. They were good. And then I had the heat. When it's hot out, I kind of just stick to simple foods. And I had chicken tenders 3 times.
Did you want a salad, like something cool or what?
No, I don't know. When you throw a burger with all the dressings on it, it just feels like it just weighs me down in the heat, I guess.
Fair enough. Just eat a plain cheeseburger then.
Yep.
I was enjoying a cheeseburger because I was like, I'm about to win the burger bet with you. So,
actually, there's a meal I got to shout out, and I know you didn't get to partake in it because you were off doing other things. But I was at the Greaves Pit, and they fed me a meal, and it was awesome. It was a pasta type deal. It was awesome.
Ooh,
that was the best meal.
I bet you I've had it before. I bet it's a recreate, like they had it at
Wheatland.
No, ERX, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's very possible. Yeah, it was like Olive Garden type.
Oh yeah, I had that there before, and it's amazing.
Yep. So
honestly, best meal I had at a track all year.
Yeah. So if I smell that again, I'm gonna be sliding into that pit and batting my eyes and trying to get a meal.
So that must be KGB. Be ready at Park River because we want pasta.
Yep. All right. Track attendance. We've talked about it a couple times now, and I said I was going to try to get some numbers, and I have provided. So, just kind of cross comparing 2024 to what we know now of 2025. Anago for 2025, 10,875 people. Wow. Like, I feel like that's a pretty good number. And we even noted it. Like, it was like, hey, the covered grandstands is packed. And that's up from last year's 9,800. So a solid thousand more people.
Wow.
And I don't know. It feels like it was more, but numbers don't lie. The racer count was up as well. About 12. No, not 12. Yeah, 12.
Yep.
12 additional drivers. So that's great too. I guess like the biggest pull away I get from this is Bark River pulls in the most drivers, which is weird to me because I feel like Fall Crandon is like the big hit that always gets West Coast guys coming. I know some of the West Coast guys came for Bark River too, though. So, but it was like,
so does that mean they just have that many drivers that are coming out of the woodworks of the UP that don't go anywhere else?
Yeah, very possible. I'd like to see where those classes are growing because we don't see large number changes in the like
pros
besides like West Coast guys. But yeah, so I'd like to see where that comes from. That might be more research than I have time for, but I'll try. 2025 Wheatland had slightly more than 2024 ERX. So just kind of putting like a tally marker on how Wheatland performed. Like ERX has been steadily growing that spectator field. Like there's no lie. Everybody knows that you're not going to kill it the first year. It's not going to be a big bang. Like you're going to have to put in the work, put in the years to get the locals knowing about it, to get companies knowing about it, and people wanting to travel out there.
Yep.
One thing I wanted to note, because we had an interview with Dan Vandenheuvel, driver, and he was saying how the drivers need to show up to ERX, and that needs to be like what's going to help that and help the payout even more at that particular track, because it seems like every single track is throwing an extra bone in for driver pot money, and ERX doesn't have the biggest. They don't have a lot of money coming in, so they don't have that availability to give those funds. But looking at the numbers, ERX had 538 drivers in 2024, and now they had 587 drivers.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're comparing that though to like, say, Anago, when they had 593, Crandon had 636. So, I mean, that's not a huge drop down. 2024 there was a bigger drop down of 581 to 538. So there's less drivers, that didn't go to ERX in 2024 than 2025. Like that's a very close number. I think they were all stock trucks, by the way.
Yeah, and to gauge like the long haul track, because the only other one that's like a long haul track which is not even on the same scale, but ERX compared to Wheatland was 100 less drivers.
Yeah.
So I think ERX is doing well on that standpoint.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I don't know if you look at 2024 numbers for Bark River and Crandon, I don't know where those vehicles come from, but those numbers are pretty astonishing.
Yeah, I don't know where those come from either. That seems like a lot more.
Yeah. So all in all, 2025, all tracks so far have seen about 2,000 fan increase on average. So that's good. We're growing our fan base. For Bark River and Fall Crandon, we see 60% driver increase from that average. So like we were just mentioning there, that we have astonishing numbers coming in for Bark River and Fall Crandon. And I would like to find out who those drivers are that's 60% more and find out how we get them to come the rest of the season.
Yeah, I would have to see that number where that comes from. That seems like a lot. I mean, even if you bring in the West Coast, right? Maybe because they're bringing in multiple vehicles with them, that it's starting. But even that's like, you're basically saying, you know, yeah, that's a difficult number to get to. You're basically saying 200 drivers have 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So, so do you think Bark River? That's our next. What's on our next stop is going to be Bark River. Do you think it will draw that increased number of drivers again this year?
I think it will certainly have an increase of drivers. We already know there's some new drivers coming, so it'll definitely increase. That number is hard for me to believe, so I don't know if it'll increase that much.
Okay, so then moving forward to Fall Crandon, do you think it will break that 55,766 attendees?
Yes. Weather pending.
Yes, weather pending. But, I mean, if it follows the same trend, which I think you have to almost give a multiplier on that.
Is Crandon asterisk because in 2024, Spring Crandon got rained out, right?
Yeah, so there's an asterisk there because driver count was down because I think how they counted it was off the registration, and they returned a bunch of registrations. And then the attendance was way down because they completely rained out one day, and the other day was subpar. It was a really, really, really wet weekend.
Which is amazing because when we were at Crandon this year, you looked at the hill and you're like, wow, it's empty. Like, where's everybody? But granted, it was rained out last year. I mean, you're still looking at 17,000 people were there. Granted, that's way off of Fall Crandon, but
yeah, I mean, it felt still like, I mean, it's a big area, but it still felt like it was more than a usual spring run. So, at least to me. Well, on to actual racing.
yeah, let's get back to Dirt City and the racing that we saw.
So let's roll into Mod Kart. I always like to do Mod Kart. Lincoln Monsager, Brixton Wart, and Dakota Atkins. Jeez, I can't believe I got that. Corbin Wassenberg and Wesley Vandevort was the finishing order for Saturday. Not tons of action going on there. Lincoln Monsager had a pretty good lead. A few incidents along the track, but Sunday, leaders were, again, they're dropping like flies. It seems like when somebody got into the lead, they suddenly had a mechanical issue. Bell was celebrating a birthday, and he stayed out in the top 5. And I was talking to his father, and he's actually working through some, I don't want to call it injury, but some sustaining effects from ERX, where he had that roll in the Talladega corner. So for him to stay up in the top 5, that's a pretty good thing. And also, Wassenberg gets a birthday podium as well. So 2 kids with birthdays that weekend. So
On Sunday, right? Wassenberg did.
Yeah, it was a third, correct?
So he got second on Sunday.
Second, yes.
Yep. Because Sunday was Lincoln, Wassenberg, Chase, Ella Holcher, and Caleb Bell.
Yep.
I do find it funny. Like, every time I'm looking at the mod cart, like the score, like the actual score sheet, it's so funny because they have the make of the vehicle, and it's like Chevy, Yamaha, Ford, other Honda. So like the top 5 was all just random.
Well, they should just be Yamaha or Honda,
Yeah.
because that's the engine package that they're running. They have 2 choices there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wesley Vandevort was doing really good. I forget from
Sunday.
and then he had something fail, and I don't know what the failure was yet, but that was sad to see. He was one of the ones that got in the lead and then got struck by a mechanical failure. But he had a good drive and was making some good gappage.
Yeah, and it was definitely, you look at here and you are looking, and I think out of the 14 drivers that took the green flag one day was short a driver, but it was cool to see. I believe, if I do my math here quickly, 5 drivers listed their hometown as Lena. So definitely, a lot of drivers were in their hometown, so that had to be cool for them.
I'm betting a lot of those drivers' last names were Holchers.
Or Pidle, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Majority of them were.
Alrighty. I know you got some exciting conversation to talk about on Light Buggy.
Let's go buggy time. Yeah, so buggy. We got, our normal list of fun buggy talk here, but I think where we have to start in Light Buggy is the debut of Steve Hawkers in the Light Buggy. I don't know if he would necessarily love us talking about his Saturday results, but we will definitely do. Steve Hawkers debuts and ends up in 21st spot. So kudos, didn't take last.
You want to share? You want to share why
So
he was further back?
I am going to share my perspective. Is Steve, when the start is getting piled up and everybody's stopping, you probably shouldn't come around the corner so darn fast.
Yeah, on the restart, they were stacked up on the inside, and he was further back on the restart, and I got the play-by-play from him, and it was, I know I'm in the back, so the green flag's going to be dropped by the time I'm coming out of hellhole, so I'm just going to hold it wide open coming out of hellhole, and I can hopefully get a good run. And his plan was to stick to the inside. Well, unfortunately, Fate's plan was also to make an incident pile up on the inside. So he came in whizzing and thud. So he got his first wreck out of the way. So
yeah, that was unfortunate for Steve, but it was cool to see Steve Hawkers. Especially he gives so much to the sport, and what they do with the Hot Pit Sluts team and helping all the other teams. So it's cool to see him behind the wheel. Unfortunately, his cousin Evan Hawkers also suffers some. I don't know exactly what happened, but finished 18th. So not near the top. I think the big thing to call out here, though, is if we look, it was Connor Schultz first, Jake Schielman second, Greg Stengel third. And I think that's what I want to call out is just the veteran Greg Stengel just finding his way to be consistent. He isn't out there winning races, but he's consistently, in the top 5 or getting on the podium. And when I talk about the points in a little bit, that'll be a big part of it. And then if you look on Sunday, Connor Schultz, Tom Perryman, and then Evan Hawkers up to third. And just kind of getting to that Greg Stengel piece, he finishes 5th there. So definitely, a good week of light buggy racing. A lot of exciting things happen. If we flip to the points, that does keep Greg Stengel up on top with 438. Jake Schielman in second with 428, and Evan Hawkers down to third with 394. So obviously that, deep in the pack finish for Evan Hawkers hurts the points championship. And Stengel has a 10-point lead. Anything can happen. Connor Schultz is up to 5th at 360. So,
and that was Connor's 3rd consecutive win.
Yeah,
for Sunday. And then, Hawkers on Sunday gets the 3rd, and I think that restart was golden for him. Like, I think it was 3 or 4 cars that he got on that restart, so that was something that played largely into his favor.
Yep, and then just back to our Steve Hawkers thing, finishing 16th on Sunday, so
yeah,
a little bit better performance.
I think there's still some more storage to tell there.
With Steve?
Yes. So, since he is the hot pit guy, who did he find to hot pit for him?
Well, he might have found some pro drivers and pit people to help out.
Yeah, yeah. Kyle Greaves, Corey Greaves, some of the normal crew that's there for the hot pit sluts. I believe CJ made it down there for one of the races as well.
Yeah, I'm not positive on that. I know for sure KGB did, Corey did. I don't know who else.
Yeah, and when he had that incident where he had a collision on that restart, he was able to go because the tie rod was bent. So you got your wheels are just one's pointing straight, one's pointing this way, and he was able to go around and then come into the hot pits. And the guys, I'm like, oh yes, we're gonna get some work out of these boys. All the work is being paid back. And what do I see? Kyle Greaves with a ratchet strap going, hey, I know something that Ryan Beat taught me.
Oh, good times. Yeah, I mean, super funny. It would have been better if Hawkers, instead of, running into the back of the field, would have just pitted for fun since he was ready in the back, and they would have done something funny, and then he could have just rejoined the field, and guess what? He would have got in an accident.
Yeah, that's the way to think of it. Well, he is on for the rest of the season, I hear. So we still might get some tire changing action from the pro guys.
Yeah, we'll see how that progresses. Flipping into single buggy, Saturday it was Taylor Roloff, Michael Seafelt, and then third was Travis Trailstead. Got a shout out here though. Fourth place, guest on the podcast, Ben Alcox. If you guys remember the Alcox brothers episode, Ben was the one that was building the nice beer tower for everybody that has now become a competition. It was great to see, that buggy, best buggy in the field, best buggy in all, I would say between light single and pro buggy, best looking buggy.
Yeah, you got to put that asterisk there. Best looking buggy.
I mean, yeah, of course. Single buggy is probably not beating a pro buggy. Let's be real here. But yeah, it's was cool to see them have good success, and I know they put a lot of work in there. It was cool to see him beating both Connor and Colin, who finished right behind him. So, really fast buggy guys, and for him to, take a fourth just shy of a podium was really awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then, go ahead.
Turns out he can drink beer and drive a race car.
Yeah, apparently you can do both.
The Connor deal, he was in fourth, Ben was in fifth, and in 1 minute to go, Connor loops it in that left-hander that they made that weird off-camber ditch type deal that goes to the back section. That's where he looped it, and then that made him go from that fourth position to the sixth. So a little bit of unregularity from Connor there. The robot had some malware in it.
Yeah, the robot was human for once.
Yes.
Yeah, that only lasted for 1 day, though, because Sunday, lo and behold, Connor Schultz up on the top of the box, Taylor Roloff second, Travis Trailstead third, Michael Seafelt fourth, and then Jake Schielman fifth, and then Ben Alcock sixth. So he unfortunately, I think, got shuffled into the back a little bit and then had to make his way back through the field, got all the way back up to sixth. So they definitely had that light buggy, or not the light buggy, the single buggy on rails, the Alcox brothers, because even with having to get shuffled to the back in that, he got it all the way up to sixth. So good weekend for them.
Yeah, on Sunday, Ben had that exciting start that was probably the culprit in the majority of him losing some positions. So, but that's how buggy racing and just racing in general kind of goes there. So you're going to points, I assume.
Yes, I am. So from points, number 1 is Michael Seafeld at 451. Number 2 is Taylor Roloff at 449. So 2 points separate the top of the box. And then Connor Schultz at third with 387.
So 64 points. Connor Schultz is behind the leader, Seafelt.
Yeah, I mean, Seafelt and Roloff are both fast, both podium contenders week in and week out. Obviously, Connor Schultz is top of the box contender every race he's in. So we'll see where that ends at the end, coming out Bark River. But it's still going to be a tough road ahead, especially he didn't sweep the weekend. So
Yeah, and I think the points differentiation there for if you had your best day or your worst day, I think it's only like 28 or maybe 30 points.
So top of the box gets 52, 16 buggies were out there, so the last place gets 19. So a little bit more.
Yeah, so
31 or 33 points.
Yeah, but I believe 1 and 2 in points are like only separated by 1.
2.
2 points, yeah. So you need 2 guys to have 2 really bad days.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, like we said, there's still 6 races left, and 3 weekends. So we'll see where that goes. That's what I got for single buggy. Let's flip to pro buggy. In pro buggy, it was on Saturday. Billy Booth really taking control of that race, and cool to see Billy Booth take the top of the spot. Chandon Minder second, and Ryan Schwabe third. That was cool seeing Schwabe up in the box again. Mark Steinhardt fourth, and then Jordan Burlor fifth. This class was really telling that it was hard to pass.
Yeah.
So, like Jordan Burnlor, he just couldn't. He might have been fast. Fortunately, like he was just caught up in the back, and it was tough to pass with the buggy stance and where the buggies could be running. So this was one of those tougher ones. And then if you're just looking on to Sunday, then it was really the West Coast. This was like the West Coast boys, Chandon Minder, Zachary Drapekin, and Billy Booth. Then it was Mark Steinhardt and Ryan Schwabe fifth, and then Jordan Burnlar in sixth. So definitely it was kind of the takeover of the West Coast buggies. Even on Saturday, it was Chandon Minder from California in second. So California boys did good in the pro buggy class. And if we're flipping it to the points, Billy Booth is out front with 456, Jordan Burnlar 438, and then Chandon Minder 435. So only 3 points separate second and third. Obviously, like I said, Jordan Burnlar getting shuffled into the back of the pack when he did and not being able to make his way up suffered in the points because Billy Booth had a great weekend.
Yeah, I think you hit it right there on the head with day 2. Like I had the same notes. 2 out of 3 were California guys. I think that track suits more technical California type style.
Yeah,
West Coast style, I should say.
Back in the Lucas days, a lot of those tracks were that way.
Yeah. Ultimately, and we're going to see this trend continue. It was a chase race. You had to chase the guy. In the truck class, you're going to be able to put a fender on a guy and try to make a move that way. Super buggy. Not much options for fenders.
No. They don't come equipped very much with a fender. So, and when you're clipping a wheel, that doesn't go very well for the competition. Doesn't love when you're hitting their wheels.
Yeah, it doesn't usually go well for anybody.
No, because wheel on wheel is not going to help anybody.
I guess I'm surprised that Burnlower didn't perform better on it. I feel like this is kind of a track that he would perform well on, being a go-kart kid and all that.
Yeah, I 100% think it's the fact that, you get shuffled into the back of the pack and trying to make your way up into the field when, like Booth up there, Minder, Schwabe, all those guys are fast. Like, they're fast. It's tough to pass. Nobody's making a huge amount of mistakes. So, yeah, it's tough. When you might not be you're the same level of fast as everybody and they're in front of you, it's tough to pass. And just trying to get some times here from a perspective to kind of tell you what that looked like from the buggy standpoint. Maybe.
Were we were we missing anybody notable out of that field?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I feel like you or should be reporting on your
Nope.
team in which you are representing.
Nope. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, I think it's worth noting that there's a particular team that's working hard to rebuild their buggy and get it going. And I believe are there any teams that are going to be showing up to Bark River that weren't at Dirt City?
We'll have to see, what teams are out there and what happens. But as far as the times we're looking at, and this is going back to what the Jordan Bernlohr conversation, he was running his best time, at least on Saturday. I didn't find Sunday yet, but he was running 58 seconds. Billy Booth and Shannon Minder were running 57s. And there was five buggies running in the 58s. So, when you're all running comparable times and the top two are running slightly faster, I would say they're not a full second faster. Some cases they are, but and when you have all those evenly matched buggies on a tough race to pass, like it makes it really tough.
Yeah. Just comparing the points. Could you list the points from first to, say, 15th?
Yep, let me find that. Pro buggy. Yeah, so I can definitely rattle off the top 10. Billy Booth, Jordan Bernlohr, Shannon Mindler, Mark Steinhardt, Ryan Schwabe, Michael Meister, Tony Keepers, Logan Christensen, Kai Graff, and Cole Bernlohr round out the top 10. That's all I have here.
Oh, okay. So is there a big spread from that 10 to first?
Yeah, from 10, it's 287 and then 456. So quite a big spread.
Well, should we move on to Pro Spec?
Yeah, let's go to Pro Spec.
Alrighty. I think the big news on Saturday, and was kind of shocked even when we didn't know what was going on until it was announced, but when they pulled out, Miller was actually penalized starting positions for unsafe conduct under a yellow during qualifying. So that hindered his somewhat of his progression, I should say. It didn't hinder all of it.
I do have a question about that.
Yeah, give me a question.
So we know he was penalized for that during, what was it, qualifying or practice?
Qualifying?
During qualifying. And it was supposedly because, he was too fast around track officials or sprayed them with mud or whatever happened, right? So I think it was Saturday, we had a driver on the podium apologizing to the track crew for spraying them with mud. Obviously, I didn't look at the scenario closer. I don't know what that looked like from a penalty standpoint, but how can you penalize somebody for unsafe speed and then you have a driver up on the podium apologizing to track crew? Obviously didn't see it, so they could have been way different scenarios.
Yeah, I personally didn't see the Miller one, and during the race, you're referencing Dylan Parsons, correct?
Yeah, I believe it was Dylan Parsons that brought it up on the podium.
Yeah, and I didn't witness something that was extreme in the race, so I'm sure he got a warning, and that's probably what prompted him to say that. And I think that's a good thing that he acknowledged that he was warned. Obviously, the officials have the ruling, whether, it could be two different things here. We could be, you're going a little bit fast, you need to slow it down, and he apologized for it. And then there's, you went way fast, track crew was receiving dirt from your tires, your truck, da-da-da-da-da. And, I gotta say, during qualifying, when you get a local caution, it is literally the breaking point of who's going to have a good qualifier, because chances are you're going to, depending on when that caution is, you're going to catch a bad lap.
Yeah,
so
100%.
If you're the driver that's in front of the guy that is in the caution or made the caution, you should get a clean lap. The guys behind are pressed to make that good lap. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And I just want to clarify too. I think if it was Parsons, which I think from what you're saying it was, I do want to give him kudos for shouting out and, saying thank you to the track crew and what he did because, like, yeah, acknowledging it and, saying, sorry for doing it was a good call out by him.
Yeah.
Nick Visser show, right?
Nick Visser. I mean, on Saturday, we're going to roll in VDE Chesmick. I mean, they were freaking going at it. Banging doors from drop of the green flag, and that resulted in the first caution, first corner, and VDE. I don't know how that truck didn't continue to roll. It slid on its on its door, passenger door, for it was a slide.
Yeah. Yeah, and he obviously slid the perfect way. That was on right off the green flag. So obviously they were up front. There was a lot of trucks coming behind them. He slid the perfect way in case someone couldn't hold up, someone couldn't stop. Even if he got hit, he was going to get hit in a safe spot.
Yeah, kind of, I guess. But Dylan Parsons was one that got collected and was kind of like a good barrier. It seemed like the drivers had good track awareness at that point.
Yeah, I think VDE and off the start did not love turn one. So Saturday ends up on the side, and then on Sunday he ends up hitting the wall.
Yeah, turn one and him are not friends.
No, not this weekend it wasn't.
Yeah, and you go back and review the tape going back to Saturday's incident, and in my head, it's really hard to determine. I actually talked to VDE, and he showed me some additional footage, and it's compelling that Chesmick was a bit aggressive there and was causing it. And the footage on Flow shows it doesn't show it from the beginning, so it looks like VDE gives him a tap and then moves him, and then that's what causes that last collection. So, to point a finger at one driver to the next is hard to say, but I think that there should have been a restart on that at minimal. VDE really got the short end of the stick there. It was something that was either a mutual issue between two drivers or it was not his fault. And they should have gave that a re-rack.
Yeah, it felt definitely like there should have been a re-rack there. It, like you said, it's so tough, especially at Lena, Dirt City. What did we just talk about? It's hard to pass. You want to get the best possible position off the rip because if you don't, then you're battling your position the rest of the race. So everybody's vying to get as far up in the field as they can because at Dirt City, that is huge. 1 or 2 spots could be the difference of a podium or no podium.
Yeah, and VDA makes a great, we'll call it a rebuttal, and pulls off a fourth on that day, Saturday. So, I mean, that's a heck of a rebuttal considering he was dang near lapped. And then, obviously, he just had to stay on lap until the caution. So that was great. Visser leads flag to flag, and if we roll the camera back to ERX, that big situation with him and Miller, I think he puts a lot of closure to that in his podium speech. He does what I would call an apology and just brings his character back to center. And I think he did a great job at that. I got to give him a round of applause for that.
Yeah, I know last week I was speaking on, the behalf there too, where it might have been more on the slightly critical side of the actions of Visser, but, you take it all in all, he goes up there and he says what he does in the podium. That was awesome to see. And it was, I think it was the right thing. And, hearing him talk on it as well, it's definitely was something that isn't normally in his character, in his racing career. So obviously things happen in the heat of the moment, and I think he handled it very well on, his speech.
Yeah, and Saturday, where did Miller end up finishing? Because 2 minutes to go, he lost all kinds of, it looked like power or something that definitely dropped his pace.
Yeah, so on Saturday, Wyatt Miller finished 7th. So not all the way towards the back, but definitely dropped down.
Yeah. And then Sunday, he must have got things sorted out because him and VDE were trading spots and trading spots basically over mistakes like the track kind of forces you to do. But it was a really good show on that. Visser, unfortunately, has an incident on the K-rail and makes some damage. So that kind of puts him, he was just kind of turning some laps at a lower pace, trying to collect whatever points he can in a safe manner.
Yeah, Visser ends up in last place on Sunday. VDE on the top of the box, Miller second, and Dylan Parsons third. So Parsons up on the box both days. He's the only driver that can say that.
Yeah, and VDE, I mean, he was coming into this with 3 in a row wins. Obviously, Saturday spoiled that, but now he's got another win. So you wonder how many in a row can he rack up again?
Yeah, VDE leads the points at 484, Wyatt Miller at 470, and Dylan Parsons at 438. So Nick Visser is at 416, so right behind in fourth. So the points are starting to bundle up a little bit. Which, going in Bark River, that's going to be huge. I mean, you got this class is going to have room to move at Bark River, a little bigger track. We're going to get to see, different driving styles come out, and it's going to be fun. I mean, some of these race weekends could really shift these points because they're not so far apart.
Yeah, and VDE and Miller being so close in points, and hate to bring up old drama, but VDE and Miller have some history at Bark River as well, so
VDE, don't leave the door open.
yeah. And Miller, don't get it stuck in gear.
Yep,
So
100%. I was going to call out too, like Saturday was not a good day for the young drivers.
yeah, some old guys back on the box.
Yeah, it was dominated by the old people.
Yeah, and I think we're finding where the mesh is happening well. Like it's kind of not becoming a topic anymore at this point.
Yeah,
But it still is.
it still is, but it, like you said, it isn't, and it was. I do think too, like how technical that Dirt City can be, how rough it is, and how you're truly off-road racing, because there's holes that develop and you have to know how to read that. And I think that shows, like the younger drivers might struggle a little bit trying to get a feel for the track. The second day they do a little bit better, maybe they get a better feel, but the experience really shines for tracks like this.
Yeah. Pro stock. You want to rattle off some finishes, and we'll get into the conversation of pro stock.
Yeah, so for pro stock side by side, well, I think the shocking thing here was well, maybe not so shocking. But Owen Van Eperen on the top of the box on Saturday, Jake Komeski second, David Gay third, CJ Greaves fourth, and then Cross Kirchmeier fifth. You flip it to Sunday, it was Owen Van Eperen, David Gay, Cross Kirchmeier, CJ Greaves, and then fifth was Colin Kearns.
Yeah, so we have that consistent Owen, CJ, and David Gay.
Yeah, I mean, in the top five, definitely. It was, I think, I can't remember 100%, but I believe that was David Gay's first podium finish in the pro stock.
Yes, I believe that was correct as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool to see. Dude, it's the Owen Van Eperen show. He's got the pro stock on rails, and it's just crazy. I mean, outside of his like his Yamaha, it was Polaris, Honda. And then on Sunday, it was Polaris, Honda, Polaris. And then with Colin Kearns, there's another Yamaha. But Owen Van Eperen just has that Yamaha and rails compared to all the other ones.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, I'll read off the points here. And, but this is what you expect. Owen Van Eperen's opened up a 100-point lead. 106 points over CJ Greaves, who sits in second, Jeb Boodle in third, and then David Gay in fourth, Cross Kirchmeyer fifth. So at this point, I don't know how you even possibly catch Owen Van Eperen.
Yeah, that's a long string of. He's got to take a long vacation to make that happen. I think it's pretty much.
Well,
can't officially put the seal on this one yet, but she's getting close.
21 points is the difference, right? So if he takes last place, CJ Graves takes first every single race, and there's about 14. That would allow CJ to catch up.
So wait, there's only 6.
It's 21 points.
Yeah.
But 6 would be 121 points, so he would just catch him.
Yeah. So we can't put the seal on it yet.
But come on. Owen Van Eperen is probably not taking last place 6 races.
Announcer's curse.
Well,
if that happens, Owen's going to find where you live.
Yep,
or
definitely.
Most likely Rod.
Yeah.
The notes I have are about our good buddies.
I have those too. But
well, you go ahead. You say it. I'll fill in the blanks.
So on Sunday, I think it was Sunday, Tyson Marquardt is out front leading, and he's just ripping off lap after lap up in the lead, holding off the whole field.
Yep, till 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, and then fortunately for him, he puts it up on the bike, and it just falls off the rails from there. Ends up in 12th. So on Sunday, it was Dylan 11th, Tyson 12th. If you flip to Saturday, Dylan 8th, Tyson 9th. So, just Dylan beating Tyson by a position both days. They finished next to each other both days. Yeah, I get they want to race the same lines or whatever, the same looking vehicles. Doesn't mean they have to finish by each other.
Well, what else did they do together?
I don't know.
Saturday, green flag. The next thing the announcer says,
oh yeah, spun out.
Both of the Marquardt brothers
spun out.
Are pushed way far out. I don't even know if they clipped the wall because that was near the end of the dog leg, but it's like they had a twin moment and they just locked their brains together and went for it.
Yeah. Their helmets looked really cool that they got done.
Yeah. On the Sunday race, he stayed up until there was 7 minutes to go. And where he biked it was that right-hander on the infield. And if you listen to our podcast that we did with him, I warned him about that corner. And I said that corner has claimed victims to people biting it and going over. So can't say I didn't tell you.
Yeah, that was it was interesting how they always seem to find each other in the pack.
Yeah. Unless you got more pro stock news, what's the big exciting news in Pro Light?
Yeah, so flipping to Pro Light, on Saturday, Johnny Holcher first, Connor Berry second, Matt Wood third. Flip to Sunday, it goes Connor Berry, Matt Wood, and Joey Machosik. And then, got to shout out Joe Sylvester?
Monster Truck Joey?
Yeah, took fourth.
Very well.
On Sunday, so that's pretty sweet. Always cool to see that. It was, I think the big shout out, though, that we have to call out. So if everybody, we want to flip back, taking your analogy, wind back the clock to ERX. Michael Funk experiences, a pretty big wreck. And, lo and behold, they get a vehicle out there. They are back into the field, take 8th on Saturday. Just really the first time they get to run that truck. And then they do take 8th on Sunday as well. So 2 8th place spots, but it was cool to see Michael Funk back, getting a truck back out there and back out in the field.
The funk is back.
Yes.
Yeah, the truck that they got was a Povardi truck. So
Yeah, they had to get it all the way from the West Coast.
yeah, and I mean a good solid truck. They're working out some bugs. Obviously, usually you buy a truck and adjust and test and
Have all off season to work on it.
figure out what goes on with it. So they're just kind of doing that on the fly. Hopefully they get some testing in here before Bark River. Aside from that, yeah,
There's a new manufacturer, right?
I keep on hearing rumblings. Why don't you drop that info?
Was that? I see a Nissan in here. I don't know if Nissan was always in the field.
I think that he's just listing his body.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I was like, I see a Nissan here, but I don't know.
And then Holcher and Barry, they put on a great show. Until Barry on Saturday blows up that shock, and he holds it off until the end of the race. That he's just, I believe it was a right front shock. So pretty much the majority of corners at Dirt City are left-handers. So that's not the shock you want to go out. But he stays into a decent position to gather some points. Matt Wood was chasing him down and couldn't catch him, even though he was broken shock, because there was a pretty decent gap there to start off. Sunday, another great Connor and Johnny show till about midway, and then Johnny Holcher, boom, blows a tire. But it was like the lap before midway, so if that's when you're going to do a tire, you might as well do it then, because then you can stay on lead lap, change it on the comp caution. And then he's charging hard, trying to get up through that pack, and Johnny Holcher rolls it on the left-hander going to the backstretch. So that kind of hurts his whole race there. Was making a good comeback and then has a good rollover.
Yeah, was it on Sunday that Connor Berry flips in the corner, lands on his wheels, takes off, and still maintains the lead? So
Yeah.
that was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, and even before that, he was battling, probably not battling, but just monitoring a coolant leak. You could see it misting and smoking off the back. And I'm sure that rollover probably caused either larger or more or whatever not. But he made it till the end. I don't think there's any motor damage or truck damage or anything like that. So that's always a good thing to report, so drivers aren't spending unnecessary monies.
Yeah, 100%. Looking at the points, Johnny Holcher's up top with 517. Second, Connor Berry, 480. And then in third is Matt Wood with 439. So definitely Johnny Holcher's out to a 37-point lead. So we will see what happens.
Yeah. You ready to do some pro side-by-side talk?
Yes.
Pro mod if you're an old guy, or however you want to classify it.
Pro side by side. Saturday, CJ Greaves finds the top of the box. I think that was win 198 for him at that point. No, it had to be 197 because he didn't get to 200 yet. So it was 197. Ronnie Van Eperen second, Andrew Carlson third. Unfortunately, Owen Van Eperen suffered some issues in this one, falls out and takes last place. So definitely was interesting to see Rodney Van Eperen and not Owen Van Eperen up there. But it was good to see CJ Greaves, get it going and getting back to the top of the box in the side-by-sides.
Yeah, Polaris is back on top. CJ, I mean, that win was like a 6.5 second gap win. So
Yeah.
he was putting the coals to it. And I mean, I'm personally glad that, the Polaris UTV is doing well now. Like, I know they put a bunch of testing on that particular track just trying to dial in that track, and then also just trying to dial in the issues he's been battling with that thing, because it seems like that it's been a common theme of a failure happens 4 laps to go, 2 laps to go, near the end of the race. So, good to see.
Yeah, and then you flip to Sunday. Speaking of Polaris, it's another Greaves-built vehicle, but Jeb Boodle takes first, CJ Greaves second, Owen Van Eperen third. So that was cool to see. Obviously Owen Van Eperen doesn't suffer the same issues he had Saturday, so he's back up in the box. And let's be real here. Like, Dirt City's a side-by-side track. Like, they are fast. Without looking at the times, they're one of the fastest vehicles out there. It's just designed for side-by-sides almost.
So, just speaking on gaps, CJ's gap to Boodle was 1.5 seconds, and then Owen's gap to CJ was 6.5 seconds. So another example that those things were dialed in.
Yeah, they definitely were dialed in. The points got really tight up for pro side-by-side. Owen Van Eperen's up top with 457. Jeb Boodle, 456. So 1 and 2 separated by a point. CJ Greaves sitting in third at 415. So 41 41 points behind, the top two. So, Jeb Boodle's definitely in the point hunt right now.
Yeah. So, 41 or 42?
41 to second, 42 to the top for CJ.
Yeah. So, that's not out of reach in that class. I think that's, especially if you have another Owen situation that has a failure and goes to the back. I think CJ still got a chance to be up in that first spot. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Obviously, Owen and Jeb are going to be dancing back and forth probably for a good amount of time here.
Yeah, and obviously anything can happen. Look at Saturday. Owen Van Eperen takes last, so that's a big difference in the points,
So what do you think the long track of Bark River is going to bring for this change in competition spirits, as I'll call it?
Yeah, we'll see. I think the long tracks may be a little bit suited for Owen Van Eperen. We'll see what the Polarises can put down, but I think the long track might be a little more suited for the Yamaha.
Yeah. Well, hopefully things stay sorted, especially with the long track changeover, and we'll have a good race then.
Yep.
Pro 2. That's probably the grunt of our conversation here, and Pro 4 is probably going to consume a good chunk too. I starting off Saturday, Keegan frickin' commands that race. That was, I don't know the gap on it, but it was a pretty good race for him. Holter gets a flat, and Winner is in his old truck. So a familiar truck for him, and he makes it work. So what was the finishing orders on Saturday's Pro 2?
Yeah, so for Saturday's Pro 2, we are looking at Keegan Kincaid up top, Ryan Beat second, Corey Winner third, Kyle Greaves fourth, Kyle Cooper fifth.
Yeah.
And then flipping to Sunday, Ryan Beat first, Kyle Greaves second, Jacob Rosales third, Trey Gibbs fourth, Kyle Cooper fifth.
Yeah, there was a lot that happened on Sunday's beginning of the race, and then the last 4 minutes or so, a lot of people changed spots, mainly in the third to fifth range. So Kincaid gets a flat. That was
Sunday.
2 laps to go on Sunday. That he has to pit. That moves Kyle from his third position into second. And then earlier in that race, Trey Gibbs was up in the fourth position. And then there was pass there by Kyle, and there was a little bit of bundling up on the dog leg exit. This is all Sunday talk. And then going to the start. I think, why don't you share your viewpoints on the start, and I'll...
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about the start. And then after the start, we can get back into time differences. I was able to grab them quickly, but
Awesome.
yeah, let's jump to the start. So Sunday start, you could see, so at Dirt City, the left lane has the starting lane. They're the ones that set the pace, and unfortunately, it does potentially look like, depending on how you're viewing it, Ryan Beat might jump the start, but he stops, and so I don't know, tough call. To me, looks like he might have jumped it, but I don't know how you view in, like, he jumped it, but then he stopped. Like, does that offset the jump? I don't know. Either way, it feels like it should have been a re-rack restart.
Yeah, my viewpoint wasn't great live at the track because you were by me as well. We were kind of the entrance of turn one, so the start viewpoint was not great. But looking back on flow,
If you false start on a track meet, like, then they restart it, and I think you might only get one of them. And if you false start again, you're out of the race actually in track. But yeah, I get where you're going with the analogy.
but we'll go back to the analogies about wheels. So I don't know. To me, it's clear as day that he either made a mistake and he misidentified the start of Kincaid, but then he backs it up with just falsely starting, and you can see the massive lead. He right over the finish line start jump. He's already got what I'm going to consider about a half a truck length to 3/4 of a truck length, and those two started next to each other the previous day, twice on the start and the restart, and he didn't have that power pull those two times. So unless somebody threw a magic tune in it or something, I just don't see.
I don't know.
I don't see how that gap grows that quickly. But
That's tough comparing day to day. I mean, track conditions are different, setups are different. Like, things can happen there, but I agree. No matter what you're watching, it does appear like he created some sort of advantage on the start.
yeah, and the unfortunate part is it's not the fact that he got that lead, it's what caused everything behind him. Like, it's just causing mayhem behind him. Let's just get some clean starts here. Let's stop playing, whether that was games, whether he was trying to just pace out Kincaid. and or whether he was trying to pump his line and getting people to brake check. Let's just stop playing games. Let's go and race, and let's see who's the fastest.
Yeah, 100%. But you're looking at the time difference. So Keegan Kincaid on Saturday obviously won. Beat was 1.6 seconds behind. And then Corey Winter was 6.5. So a big gap between 2 and 3 there. And and then I think Sunday was Beat just walked away with that.
Yeah, well, when everything trickles down from that, it's hard to make it a competitive race.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes it tough, but it was just watching that race, with Keegan going out with the tire issue, Beat was fast and he was tough to catch, and Keegan definitely had the speed to keep up with him, and without Keegan out there, Beat was in his own stratosphere, really.
Yeah. And Trey Gibbs with seeing him more in traffic, he was starting to show that, in my eyes, he's kind of exiting that learning curve stage. I think we're going to start seeing more Trey Gibbs like we were seeing in Pro Light.
Yeah, and just to flip, Sunday's time gap was 7 seconds between first and second. So, Pete was, like I said, way out front.
I hate to see if you have this up, but do you know lap times from Sunday?
The best lap time on Sunday was 55.154 by Ryan Beat. Kyle Greaves had a 55.182, so definitely right there.
Yeah, so I just obviously we're Kyle Greaves fans. I'm going to say it right like that, but you hate to see if that start would have been different, what we really could have had for a race with those times being so close.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. Greaves was further back. He would have still had to go through Keegan if Keegan doesn't blow a tire. Like, it's Dirt City. Passing people's tough.
Yep.
So, I mean, that spot, being up top is tough to, pass around. And obviously being in the top spot is a benefit. But at the same time, it's tough to say because Kyle Greaves was more in the mid of the pack when he started. So,
yeah, that's what I'm pointing at here. Well, enough Pro 2. Let's talk about some exciting Pro 4 stuff.
It was. I mean, I guess it wasn't all snooze fest because
it wasn't.
Sanderson
and Kyle starts to take some, or how do you say this? He's
He put the Johnny Greaves back in the Johnny Greaves truck. Yes.
Yeah, he started treating that truck like Johnny would treat it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think there's even video footage of Johnny flipping down in the hole and Kyle or KGB flipping down in the hole, and they're almost dang similar.
Yeah. Yeah, taking notes. I guess I'd like to start out with Saturday. Man, Mickey was having a good run.
Yeah, he was.
And then tragedy strikes, a mechanical issue. I seen on one of his posts that it was a serpentine belt that kicked off. So something so simple, but so crucial that he was on a heater. And when we had the Marquards on, I was even boasting up, thinking that he was going to be a really good contender for this track, and it was coming to fruition.
Yeah, Mickey looked bad fast. Obviously, that plagued him on Sunday too. Doesn't even he goes out there to start the race, doesn't even get the green flag. He drops out right away. But Mickey did look fast. So looking on Saturday, it was CJ Greaves, Adrian Cheney, then KGB filling in for Johnny Greaves. All thanks to Jimmy Henderson finding the fence.
I mean, Henderson you got to give it to him. He was
sending it.
He was giving it everything he had to keep up with not keep up, but try to make a pass on CJ.
He did have the fast lap, 53.341.
Yeah, so he was giving it what he had, and I commend him for that because a lot of drivers might have settled in for that spot.
That was sick, dude. Like, CJ learned really quick, like, okay, it's getting really sketchy to trying to double out of this. So, like, CJ was taking it much smoother, and there was Henderson. Nope, I'm sending it because I needed to try to get a, position to pass, and they definitely were taking two different, driving styles through there, and Henderson was just fully on the gas pedal.
Yep.
So I could definitely tell you, from the fan side, him hitting the fence sounded a lot more like aggressive than it really ended up being if you watch the camera footage. Like, if you watch the camera footage from the opposite side where you get to see him coming into the fence, definitely looks like he got an opportunity to slow down some. But on the fan side, definitely didn't appear like that because it happened so fast.
And it helped that we were, I would say, 100 feet away.
It was pretty loud.
Yeah, we were sitting just to the before the start finish line on the hill, and kind of a mid section of the hill. So it was loud. It definitely got your attention.
If you were sleeping for whatever reason, you might have woken up.
Yeah, I think the exhaust of Adrian Cheney would have done that. But
quite frankly, I don't think you could fall asleep during Pro 4 because they're just so loud anyways, and they're entertaining. I mean, even though there might not have been a lot of them, and the racing, was a little rougher than you would want to, not like contact rough, just rougher, and like it wasn't a lot of good side-by-side racing. There's a lot of gaps, but I mean, if anything, they're entertaining because you don't know. Well, one, you're going to know Jimmy Henderson's probably going to do something crazy, and he's going to wreck. And Adrian Cheney, the wild man, is going to do something crazy. So, like, at least you're going to get some crazy wreck or flip or something out of the Pro Force.
Yeah, and Kyle's filling in for Johnny, and he's getting more aggressive with the thing. Obviously, as we just said, he rolled it over, but I think just staying that steady pace and keeping the truck together is paying dividends. So I mean, because when he was in fourth, and it was Adrian Cheney and Henderson in front of him, I said, well, he's getting a third, maybe even a second, because I know for a fact both of those trucks are not going to finish. One of them and possibly both of them will break.
Oh, 100%. I mean, looking at that scenario and the limited amount of trucks, what was it? I think six trucks, Sunday 5, because Mickey didn't even take the flag. If you kept your truck out there, you were probably getting on the podium.
Yeah, but that's that all-out racing that you get from Adrian Cheney and Henderson that is awesome.
Yeah, and Sunday was, 4 trucks finished that race on the lead lap.
Yep.
So, I mean, as long as you could stay in front of one of them, you were on the box.
Yeah, and unfortunately, on Sunday, we didn't have Mickey Thomas in that battle. He pulled off with his belt issue again, so, but still a great race.
And CJ Notch wins 198 and 199. So he's up to 199, I believe, and just shy of 200.
Yeah, so our next race is good old Bark River. I would assume we're probably going to see a 200.
Bark River. Oh, my favorite track.
Absolutely. What do you like most about Bark River?
I just like the track layout. Like, I think it's just like that off camber right by the stands, the amount of speed you get down. I just really like the track layout, and I like the facility. I don't know. I just always really enjoyed Bark River. I like the night after, like the party and the mugs. Like, I don't know. They just built a really cool environment. The track's nice. It's fun.
Yeah, and grandstands are massive. I mean, those grandstands are like 40 feet, maybe even more. So, high. Yeah, go to points. CJ Greaves has a 90-point lead over Jimmy Henderson. CJ Greaves with 539, Jimmy Henderson 449, and Johnny Greaves 425. I don't wanna wish ill upon anybody's season, but for the sake of, I want to see CJ in California at Glen Helen, I would like that points gap to be tightened up a little bit.
I mean, obviously, hopefully you get more than 6 trucks, but we will. I know we will. But you get 6 trucks, it's only a 17-point difference between first and last, and 6 times that, yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, I guess the math was not processed in my head
Yeah.
before I said that. But either way, if it gets a little bit tighter, at least it would be interesting. But there's no way not to say that CJ Greaves is dominating Pro 4.
Yeah, he is. And hopefully truck count continues to go up in the future because, like you said, like we know Jimmy Henderson can probably catch CJ. He just has to go all out to do it, and it causes chaos for him. So there's just, unfortunately, CJ's smooth. He runs his lines, and he doesn't wreck like everybody else most times. So, like, everybody else has to send it so hard to keep up to CJ. And they're just, like, flipping, wrecking. Yeah, it's tough. I think if Mickey can stay out there, I think Mickey Thomas will start to put some good pressure on.
Yeah, and we still got RJ coming to Crandon.
Yeah, we got the part-timers, yeah.
Yeah, so I look forward to Bark River.
Yes, I'm excited for Bark River. I did have a couple other notes from Dirt City that we just wanted to hit on. Some people we know and people that we've pit with in the past, just shout out to Levi Gum for getting his first ever podium in the short course carts. Took a second place. I think that, he's been able to put that together, getting more consistent, more comfortable in the short course cart. So really excited for him to get up on his first podium. It's a cool thing to see. The other thing that we wanted to talk about was this was the first time we've ever seen this, but Saturday to close out the show, they run the stock truck versus super stock truck. And let me tell you, the timing difference was not great. I think we saw the super stock trucks take the lead with like 6 laps left or something like that. It was 5 or 6. It was a ton of laps. Unfortunately, I mean, they didn't dominate the podium, though. It was super stock truck 1-2. Nick Bing winning it all. And then the first stock truck was Brian Piot in third. So other than Ronald Kazizak and Nick Bing in the super stock truck, it was all the way to 7th to the next super stock truck. It's something cool. There's a lot of people that love, especially super stock trucks and everything. But unfortunately, the timing didn't work out. The stock truck guys couldn't help themselves. They were bouncing off of each other, creating, chaos, which allowed the super stock trucks to even close the gap faster. But unfortunately, the timing didn't work out. That happens. This first time doing it. Maybe they can refigure it out next year. It was a cool thing for fans that like stock truck, but I don't think a lot of people would say it worked out in the best.
I tell you what, I got a better matchup. That would have been a closer deal. Stock truck versus Pro 4. 2 classes that, as we just highlighted, struggle to keep a full running class for podium.
Yeah, I don't think that would ever be really possible, but it would be interesting. I mean, the pro classes would have to get probably a lead lap.
Yeah, well.
Or I should say be a lap down.
It would have been interesting to see how many were left. So
Yeah, I don't know.
But I like the custom matchups. I mean, we've dreamt up a few other custom matchups, and maybe we see those in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool too, though. A bunch of people, I think Off-Road Fraternity was one of them. There was a lot of extra money thrown into this as well, and it wasn't just for the winner. Like Top Stock Truck, I forget what they all were, but there was a bunch of different things that paid out to these drivers.
Yeah, it was a good event.
I think they had a Tough Luck Award. you might have known who won that.
Yeah, I don't have that data, but I have some ideas.
He was driving a stock truck, so.
Who was it?
Tyler Hoffman.
Oh, because he was in lead and then collected himself in the left-hander?
I think so. I don't know the specifics why he won it, but.
Oh, okay. Alrighty, on to Bark River.
On to Bark River. Anything you're watching, any class that you want to call out that you're looking forward to at Bark River?
I'm always looking forward to Pro 2. Be interesting to see what Pro 4 brings our way. And I'm always watching Pro Spec.
Yeah, I'm excited for Pro Spec because that's going to be, that battle's heating up. And then I'm also really interested and excited to watch KGB in a Pro 4, Bark River, getting a chance to really stretch his legs in that thing and send it. And I've seen Johnny Greaves do some crazy things at Bark River. I would highly recommend KGB doesn't do some of those. As in almost ending up by the campers.
Yeah, I think he'll be more reserved. I certainly hope he doesn't find himself in those predicaments because we got Pro 2 to worry about as well. But it's going to be an interesting race either way. Hopefully, I'm going to go against my bet, and I'm going to say hopefully no rain. And hopefully the weather is less than scorching.
Yeah, I would agree. No rain, less than scorching weather. Yeah, I like hearing that. You're betting against yourself. I like that.
Well, I want the good weather, but
I don't blame you. I would always take the side of good weather. So when you made that bet, I was like, all right, I'll take the good weather. I am looking forward to bringing my mug up there and getting some nice beverages. They always have really good Papa Murphy's pizza there. So I'm sure I will run a good amount of pizza down.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, next time we'll be talking to you guys, giving you a recap is from the land of 2 time zones.
Yeah. Just throw that thing in a permanent time zone crunch.
Yep. All right. Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, subscribe or like. And, of course, leave a comment if you got something to say.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for everybody that has come up to us at, recent races and chatted up with us about the podcast and told us, they watch it. And thank you, everybody. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Cheers.